before we get into this, I don't want to brush over the fact that my man lost 150 pounds. Take a look at this photo. Now take a look at this dude. Night and day is an understatement. Congratulations. I just definitely want to start off with saying congratulations.
I appreciate that, man.
You did the damn thing, bro. So 150 pounds. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you were the skinny kid in high school. Mm-hmm. How the hell did you end up 320 pounds?
So I think, obviously just coming out of high school, just eating a lot, not really, moving that much, going through life, kept the same diet like you do in high school. I think in high school, we're always trying to get the Taco Bell, get the Wendy's, get the McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And I kept that same lifestyle. And then you start adding in work and some of the pressures. I ended up having a kid at a very young age. So just always on the go, trying to think about my career and trying to be career focused. And, physical health was kind of took a back seat. Mm-hmm. So I actually ballooned up to 240 pounds, probably right around 24, 25.
So in high school, what did you weigh?
140 pounds.
So you were 140 pounds in high school.
And the only reason I remember that because I played high school football my sophomore year and we used to weigh in. And so probably junior, senior, you don't even think to weigh yourself. The only reason I knew that was from football.
So from 140 to 320, how long of a period of time did that take?
It probably took about 10, 11 years.
Okay, so it was a gradual.
Yeah.
Did you not notice it?
No, I think the first couple of times when I gained weight, the first time, I noticed it a little bit, but you always have that confidence, my relationship life is going well. Mm-hmm. Like I said, nobody's really saying, hey, you gained a lot of weight. You kind of just felt like it was like a maturation. Mm-hmm. And so the first time I got up to 240 and I was like, you know what? I feel a little husky. You don't feel fat, you just feel husky. Yeah. So what I did was I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lose weight. So I looked up low carb and I was like, I believe in this. Low carb, that's what I should do. I'm eliminate carbohydrates. I'm gonna, that's what's making you fat, it's the insulin. And I actually went from 240 to 160. So that was my first weight loss transformation. And I was enjoying it. I felt really good about it. And I probably maintained my weight for right around 180 for probably about 2 years.
So you cut the carbs out of your diet completely. Mm-hmm. You lost, how much you said, 80 pounds?
Yeah, about 80 pounds, yeah.
And then you put it back on?
Absolutely.
All right, so why do you feel like the low carb lifestyle wasn't sustainable for you?
Because, I think at the end of the day, for me, it was more about just hitting a goal. And at the time, I thought I could. I thought, you think about the cheese, you think about steaks, you think about hamburgers, this is easy. And I think low carb is just, you're not tracking anything. It's just, you eliminate the food group and you just go in. And I remember I used to read that, as long as you keep carbs out, you can eat unlimited meat, you can do all this stuff.
Which is bull crap.
Yeah, but I believed it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I believed it. So for me, it was just an easier approach to weight loss, and I seen the success. So I was happy with it. And to be honest with you, even teetering around 180, I was happy with myself at that time.
If you can go back and do it again, would you do no carbs? Would you do the keto lifestyle?
Oh, heck no.
Do you suggest people cutting out food groups?
No, not at all. Like I said, I think for me, it was I was that typical weight loss person, just trying to get to a goal that first time. Hey, I want to lose weight. I want to just do something for a time period. And I felt like once you get to that time, because when you're younger, when you are 140, 150, you don't gain weight that rapidly. Mm-hmm. So even when you're 24, 25, you think if I just get back there, even if I ate terrible for the next 10 years, I'll do it again 10 years from now. So you don't think about rapid weight gain at that level that we do as we get older.
Yeah.
So I just really felt like it was something temporary. I never thought about sustainability. I just thought about getting there. And honestly, I got there and I was happy.
So I think it's one thing to grow up chubby and be a heavy set kid and then end up overweight in your adulthood. But I think it hit different when you pretty much been skinny all your life and then you find yourself obese.
Absolutely.
Right? So talk to me a little bit about your experience of being fat after not being fat all your life.
Absolutely. So after going down, doing low carb, getting to 180, then gradually over probably a year or so, like I said, I got to 190, 200. And then probably right around 2016, I got depressed. Mm. And I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I didn't have a lot of coping mechanisms. Mm. So for mine, it was food. And it was just enjoying good food. So anytime I would have a success in work or success in something I was doing, I would eat. Just eat. And then sometimes I ate just out of sometimes being nervous. If I'm working on something, I would snack and I would eat and I would eat. And honestly, I started gaining all that weight back that I lost from low carb. And then probably right around mid 2016, I think I went into high gear. And I went from that 240 range all the way up to 319. I remember literally stepping on a scale March 2017. I have a picture of it in my phone of the scale at 319. And literally being so embarrassed, I didn't even want people to see me. I used to literally put on sweatsuits, a black hoodie, just so that I think that may hide some of my fatness. I remember my best friend came from San Diego And like literally we got in the car and like he didn't even say nothing. Like we just like act like my weight gain didn't even like happen. And it was just like to the point where I was just like, yo, I didn't want to see nobody. I didn't want to be around nobody. I didn't want somebody from high school, you know, saying like, yo, so-and-so fell off. Like I don't want to do none of that. So it was, for me, it was a dark period, bro. It felt like I couldn't breathe. And honestly, even through that depression, you eat more. Like it's as weird as that sounds, it sounds dumb, but it's like you would just cope with it more and more, and it kind of just made you feel better, and you kept trying to tell yourself things will get better.
It's this snowballing effect, right? Because it's like the depression makes you want to eat more because you're trying to pacify, or you're trying to numb yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're trying to numb yourself, but then it's the snowball effect, and next thing you know, you're 320 pounds. So like, because we all deal with emotional eating on some level. So how do you deal with it today?
For me, it's all about like portion control. So for me, like a lot of the times, even when I have high emotions, I kind of think about, you know, what do I want to get out of the meal? So for me, it's like, I'm always big on like understanding food groups now, like fat content, stuff like that. So even if I want to eat something, I make small substitutions. So if I eat poke, I'll make sure I'm not to like just drown it with sauces. Or if I'm gonna go out to eat, I understand how to eat. Like a lot of my weight loss was through work. I was traveling a lot. So you learn a lot of different strategies. You learn a lot of consistencies. You learn about what places to go. You learn how to, like, if you're truly on your grind, you know how to eat that fish with no oil, no butter, and veggies, just so you can track it. You also know how to like go to a restaurant and think, okay, this has a lot of cheese in it, so it's gonna be very calorie dense. I'm gonna probably overconsume it. You learn those strategies through actually understanding your relationship with food. So my emotional like eating doesn't really happen because of that. When I do eat, it's intentional. Like if it's my birthday and I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna do something I want to, I'm gonna go with it. Like now I don't use food as an emotional mechanism, but it took a lot of time. It took years of that. It took years of really restraining myself. Even my initial weight loss journey was still, I had to be restrictive. I had to change my mind because being obese puts you in a different perspective. Not just being fat, but being obese.
Yeah. So flexible dieting, for the people who don't know what flexible dieting is pretty much you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits in your calorie guidelines and your macro guidelines, right? So that's a certain amount of protein. It's mainly based on macros.
Yep.
Correct, right? So it's a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fats, a certain amount of carbs, and if you can make the food that you're eating fit into those numbers, then you can pretty much eat it. So if it fits your macros, basically says if you're eating 1,500 calories of Pop-Tarts or 1,500 calories of salad, you'll get the same weight loss result in theory, right? And I think it's a powerful lifestyle because it promotes balance.
It does.
Right? It promotes balance, and it also teaches you calorie awareness.
It does.
Which is a powerful tool. I think most of us get in trouble because we don't know how many calories we're consuming. Right. We don't know how many carbs are in certain foods. So just learning how to track that stuff, it gives you the tools to like now you know how to eat in any situation. You know how to eat because you learned how to track your macros, right? So do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, you know, in my line of work, we always say what gets measured, what gets managed, right? So just understanding what you're actually consuming. So like, even those first couple weeks when you're starting a diet, really understanding the inputs into your diet. Most people don't know how much they consume. And honestly, for people that never have to do that, kudos to you. Like, shout out, like if you could go your whole life without ever having to like worry about labels and just eat whatever you want, bro, do it forever. Do it forever. But for me, like I said, that just understanding that, like that balance and understanding that discipline. I always tell people it's like for people who've never have done it, I compare it to like having a budget for your finances. Like, bro, like I would get up every day and I'm like, I really want Halo Top tonight. So I need to conduct my lifestyle through the day because I need to go eat Halo Top.
For the people who don't believe in calorie counting, yes, it's inconvenient. It's super inconvenient. Like you said, there are some people who are able to do it, but I think most people, it's almost impossible for most people to really lose weight, to transform their bodies, to go from obese to someone that looks like you. It's almost impossible to do that without developing calorie awareness, right?
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, so the first 3 years or the early parts of my weight loss, well, most of it was on the road. I traveled every week until the pandemic hit. So every week, like literally, I didn't always meal prep. I would literally just bring a scale with me. And I would literally understand like, okay, each day, like I need to just have consistency. So I found like a chain like Chipotle. And I knew every day I'm gonna eat steak, lettuce, and vegetables from Chipotle. And I knew that there was always gonna be a grocery store. So I knew when I went to a grocery store, I knew stuff I could buy. I could like literally find chains.
You had your go-to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You just find this consistency. Even for people who don't want to track, it's like understanding the inputs into your body and understanding what is it doing. So let's say you just said, I'm not gonna track nothing. Okay, eat how you are eating, but step on a scale every day and see what it's doing to your body. And like literally, like you used to always say this thing about use your body as a science experiment. It sucks because it takes a long time. It's a data accumulation game. And it sucks, don't get me wrong, because like for the first 4 weeks, if you're not gonna make any changes, your body's probably not gonna make any changes, but you'll also understand the relationship of food and what it does to your body. So if, like even if someone says, I don't care what they're talking about on this, if you just literally said, screw it, eat however you wanna eat, and then just track yourself for the next 4 weeks on what it's doing on the scale. Right? Is it going up and down? Then you'll know, like, no matter what, by science, you're either in a surplus, you're at a deficit, or you're maintaining. Just based on what the scale is doing, based on your food inputs. And at that moment, you can literally, without even tracking, just say, okay, if I want to lose weight, I'm just going to make some substitutions. Instead of eating the Big Mac, fine, eat your cheeseburger. You can do that just through understanding those inputs and managing the calorie awareness.
All right, so I have some really horrible memories about being overweight. What are some of your least favorite moments of being fat? But before you get into that, we do have a word from my sponsor, Ridge Wallet. It's a wrap now, boy. You done messed up. Bro, what is this?
Well, you see, Brix, the cue ball just doesn't have the sleek form-fitting design that the Ridge Wallet does. And after all, they are today's sponsor. The Ridge Wallet comes with over 30 designs and color options, including carbon fiber and my personal favorite, Damascus steel, which is my daily carry.
All right, enough. I'm sold. Where can I get one?
So go to ridgewallet.com/Brix and use the code Brix for 10% off your order and free worldwide shipping today. Now I'm gonna walk you in pool, man.
So probably two come to mind, right? So one was, again, I was traveling a lot for work. And when I first started out, I got on a plane. And I remember literally they're asking us to buckle up. And the lady comes over to me and she goes, hey, do you need a seat extender? And for somebody that's never had to experience that, it was just depressing just because they say it in front of like everyone. Like, oh, now
they're not even discreet with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like, so after that, dude, like every time I would get on a plane, as I was losing weight, I would literally like almost hide the buckle so that they can think that it's still around my waist. So they wouldn't ask me that question.
Wow. I can relate to that.
Yeah. And then the second one was going ziplining and like literally being in line, waiting, and literally having 3 people try to fit a harness around my waist. And then literally telling me like, hey, we can't support you. And literally had to walk me out of the line. Those two were probably the times where I probably felt the worst.
All right, so what was your exercise regimen like?
So when I first started, I would just go in there and lift weights. I found like a weightlifting plan off of like some kind of website. It was some type of split. I can't even remember if it was body part or push-pull legs. I went in there and I just lifted. I always enjoyed lifting weights, you know, even through like high school and after high school. So it was very lifting wise, you know, hey, let me just go lift. Very little cardio.
So that's actually the opposite of what I typically hit, right? Most of us, we turn into these cardio bunnies when we first get started. So I'm glad to hear, because I'm a big advocate for weightlifting, right? I believe it's like a 70-30 kind of thing, right? For someone watching this right now, if you were to give them some advice, where would you tell them to start?
Honestly, bro, I would tell them to track their movement. Like that would be the easiest thing. Like screw the gym. Don't even try to do the lifestyle of trying to eat differently first. Let's just start with movement. Let's literally move more. Like literally, if I could give somebody advice, I didn't know how powerful it was at the time. I always tell people, track your steps. And it sounds silly, but it's like, bro, like I come from a world where like tracking steps originally, you're like, nah, bro, you're not tracking us. You got a Fitbit on, like you know, nobody talks like that. I'm like, yeah, exactly. But bro, just that movement aspect, like you said, what people don't realize is as you get older and as you start working, you start getting into real life, we actually move less. It's amazing. Because when you're a kid, you move all the time, you don't think about it. And you like I remember being in high school, we would hoop anytime. Like literally, Brix, you could be like, let's go outside and hoop, let's do it. Now if you told me that, I'd be like, bro, you're wildin', bro. Like, we're not hooping right now. So just the ability to be able to substitute movement into your life and any type of movement, that's what I would say is like, bro, get a Fitbit, I don't care what it is, and just track your steps. I would tell them first thing, just track your movement.
Salute. You have an amazing story. I appreciate you coming here and sharing your story. Let's get a quick workout in though.
Let's get it, man.
All right.
Off the